back for another one, folks. What do you know? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Two in the Cooler. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. If you don't for some reason, be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Two in the Cooler, and definitely subscribe to the YouTube page, posting full episodes on there, posting clips every week from the episodes. This is a show, an episode where you are definitely going to want to subscribe because we're going to be posting some great clips from this one. You'll see what I mean once we get into it, but before that, we got to pay the bills, and you guys know exactly what that means. I've got to tell you about Instacart, and I would anyways because it's a great service. Instacart is the best way to get some of your favorite products from some of your favorite local stores delivered right to your front door in as little as 1 hour. It's not just for groceries, but it is perfect for groceries. So if you don't have time to run out, you're getting ready for a barbecue, getting ready for a cookout, don't have time to go pick up that last minute item, maybe you forgot something, just use Instacart. The best part is right now, Two in the Cooler listeners get free delivery on their first order of $35 or more. So if you haven't yet, start using Instacart. Hit the link in the episode description and get that going. Obviously, folks, got to mention merch at teespring.com/2inthecooler or hit the link in our Twitter bio. Search it on teespring.com. You'll be able to find it. We've got excellent merch. I was just saying how quality it is. That's why we went with Teespring, because I hate when you order a shirt, a sweatshirt, piece of merchandise, and you get it, and it's that cheap brand. You know what I'm talking about. It's that cheap brand. I'm not going to say it, but it's that cheap material. It's no good. It doesn't fit comfortably. It's almost boxy. It's not soft. It's not right. Not a problem with teespring.com. The t-shirts are phenomenal. They are awesome. They're so soft. I wish I had one on right now. We're talking Target quality, people. Talking Target quality. You are going to feel so comfortable in these shirts. You're going to love them. And you're going to love that you're supporting the show. We got logo merch. We've got hashtag pizza tipping, hashtag Matt can't read. And we just put up the new PTP merch. PTP, Protect the Prostitutes. Enough said right there. I mean, what else do you need to hear? Protect the prostitutes, decriminalize sex work. It's being done in Manhattan. Somebody's got to look out for these girls, okay? Show your support by getting this PTP merch. We got t-shirts, and we've also got great PTP tank tops, so be sure to check those out at teespring.com/store/2in-the-cooler. Get something nice, get something classy for yourself. Folks, Donny Alberts on this episode. Unbelievable. Be sure you check him out on Spotify, Apple Music, all the streaming stuff. His new album, Yoked, is out. It's excellent. He was awesome to talk to. You guys are going to love it. That's enough out of me. Here we go with the episode. Thank you guys for listening. We're live. Here we are. Boom.
We did it.
We did it. We did do it. It took a while. Donny Alberts, welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
We've been since Jake and Ben were on.
Yeah.
Is when you first messaged about, which that's what I want to say to start up at the top. Donny got on the show in the way that I don't recommend anyone attempting to get on the show is messaging us and saying, get me on the show, because we get messages on Instagram like a fair amount being like, you know who you got to have on your podcast? Me. But Donnie's was like, what does somebody do to come on the show? So don't do it no matter what. Yeah.
What's the guy got to do?
Well, you could. I'm not going to say don't do it because it's, some people might be funny when they try to do it, but it doesn't mean it's going to work.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
I think that Donnie is the first and last person that will have come on that way. But we had to have you on.
Cheers.
As soon as I realized who you were, asked Jake and Ben, this guy's a good guy. They said he's, top of the line as far as guys go.
That's
you can't
actually
beat
also
him.
another thing to do. Don't get a recommendation from Jake and Ben to come on the show.
See, that's where we disagree.
Oh, so
if they booked the show, then I would do that. We'd have some crazy people. We'd probably have that
criminals.
Yeah, literally that. What was that like murderer guy or whatever?
Oh, what was his name?
You had a murderer on the show. Good.
Well, he was
we
like
have him, but I don't know what he was doing.
He was a murderer, or
he was doing something.
He was a murder rapist, doubling down,
2 for 1,
something like that. Something like that.
It happens.
Yeah, it happens. So,
see, I'm going to cut you off before I even know what you're going to say. These are the episodes that I get excited for because it's well documented that I come into these shows with zero like research in mind coming into it. So with the exception of like, I did check out your latest album, Yoked, correct?
Okay. Yep.
So I checked that out, and I was a big fan. And I say a lot
Thank
of
you.
times I'm not a super huge music guy, but
You're not a just any music.
no,
Like,
I'm a very casual like music listener. You know what I mean?
I got
As
you.
compared to some people who are very involved. But yeah, I listened to like 4 or 5 songs from the album, and I was super down with like the vibe of the music that I was hearing and stuff like that. I know Andrew didn't like that
Nice lingo.
He thought it was douchey.
it was
a little
down with the vibe of the
douchey,
music.
but like that's, you know what I mean? Like I don't know the correct terminology as far as that goes. I liked it.
That works for me.
Yeah, I liked it, and I I don't even really endorse people's music a lot because what is my opinion compared to the next one?
Because people take
but
it
I
very
liked
seriously.
it. Yeah, and that was the other thing I was going to say is I like having people on that outside of like this small little community that we're in of trying to build. Everybody's trying to build their own platform that we don't really know. So it gives us the opportunity to kind of suck as much information out of you as we can as far as like question. I know that's not bad. I'm off to a cold start. I just mean like all right. I'm off to a cold start. But what I mean is, and where I want to start is like, when did you? Because then I saw that you had another EP on. I was looking on Apple Music.
The Wake Up.
Yeah, and I think it was from 2019. Did it say?
I think so.
So when did music kind of start from you? How did you get into it? Like all the way back to the beginning.
Dude, honestly, it like
bring that guy right to your.
It like just sort of happened, like almost accidentally. Like I was like, if I'm tracing it all the way back, like 8th grade English class, we were like doing like a poetry section, and like I was not a good student by any means, but like I was getting hundreds on the poetry assignments. I was like, what the fuck? Like, what random 8th grade dude is just good at poetry for some reason? I was like, all right. And then like a couple random buddies, we would freestyle just awfully. Like none of us were good. And then eventually I was like, I guess I'm not terrible at this. I was like, let's see if I can write a verse, blah, blah, blah. And then my brother was in music. He raps as well. So that was like kind of easy to get into. But I didn't start taking it seriously probably until I was like 17, 18. I played my first show when I was like 17, something like that, downtown. And then like they kind of just started rolling in. I played a festival in Ellicottville. It was pretty cool. It was a Starfall Music Fest. It was like opening night. I was with this group called Mindset at the time. And like opening night, main stage, like 11 p.m. I don't even remember it, but I know it was a good time. Like, it was just great. But so yeah, dude, I never, at no point was I like, oh, I'm gonna be a rapper. Like I don't even tell people I rap now. Like if it comes up, great, we'll talk about it. But like I'm not that dude that's like, yo, I'm a rapper. Like, check me out. Like I don't give a shit. Like check me out or don't. Like it's out there if you want to listen to it. If not, like. I do it because I'm bored and it's fun and like occasionally get paid.
Yeah, and
like
you can be good at it.
Right,
That's pretty cool.
Like, it keeps me like sane at this point.
Which
like,
I think a lot of people are in need of something to do that these days.
Not that I'm sane or normal, like, but like if I wasn't able to write stuff, like I would probably
it would be
way
bad.
worse off.
I understand.
That's an interesting thing to have though, because I have said it before. I feel like a big part of the rap genre in general is you gotta be the chest thumping. You gotta chest thump. Let people know.
That's not me.
But you do a little bit of that, I think, in some of your songs. You got a few verses.
Well,
where you talk about
it's
being
different
good.
as far as like talking about it. And then once you're actually rapping, like you can get away with saying whatever you want. Like I say some like if you like sat down and dissected my like I say some weird shit, like some very weird shit. I don't know. I can't think of an example. I don't want to. But yeah, no, you can say whatever you want once the beat starts.
Okay, that's what I'm kind of asking about is so once you start hearing that beat, you get locked in. Yeah, you're just in a different mode then.
Right. It's like who's a good example of that? Lil Dicky has a good quote about that. I don't remember the exact quote, but like you listen to Lil Dicky talk, and you're like, is this guy like an accountant? Like, what is he like?
Have you watched that show, Dave?
Oh, I love it. I love it. Season 2's like around the corner. It's
coming out like next month or something like that.
I'm excited for that. I'm probably going to rewatch that season.
Yeah, you might as well. Dude, that one where he just like shits his pants. or he doesn't shit his pants. He shits in the woods. I can't believe that was a part of a team. Like, they showed it.
Right. There's a lot of stuff in there. I was like, oh my God, like they really went for it. Like the milking table, you know what I'm talking about? Like when he's just in the garage getting milked and like the garage door opens.
Yep.
Like I was like watching like, what the fuck?
It's a beautiful episode. It's a beautiful thing. The love between two people.
Yeah.
There was another thing I was going to ask you about, kind of on that. But while we're talking about Yoked, which Matthew mentioned.
Yeah.
Again, when you message the Two in the Cooler account, which no one should do.
But also I condone everybody to do so because I don't run it, and I just think it's hysterical.
He doesn't have to filter through.
Yeah.
Exactly. When I was
Send
looking
us your
up,
best pitch if you really think you can be on the show.
That's a
don't-
terrible-
See, I didn't
that's a
even know
terrible
this.
idea.
I had no pitch. I
Don't
was just
do
like,
that.
and that's what works.
what's the
for
guy
you.
got to do?
That's the
Like,
thing.
yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just genuine curiosity.
exactly.
All right, back to what you were saying.
The album cover for Yoke is the first thing that got my attention.
Well,
I was
yeah.
like, okay, we can talk to this guy.
Yeah.
If this is what he's putting out there.
I figure it's like, it's like the cover letter for, a resume. Like, that's good. Like, jobs are like, all right, he has a cover. Like, my resume, I don't have a cover letter. Like, that's why I don't get good jobs. But my buddy Kevin, his rap name's Frigid Giant. You should check him out. But he makes, like, comic books and does, like, graphic design or whatever.
Really?
Kevin, if that's not what you do, I'm sorry, but
Message the Two in the Cooler.
yeah. But no, he has like his own comic book series called Volantis or whatnot. So we were rapping together all the time, and he actually did my first album cover too, with like my face melting off.
Really?
And that's actually a picture. That picture is me with a broken nose, and then I sent him that. I was like, just add some color, make my face melt, and like the first copy he sent back to me was the one that ended up being the final. Like he just like gets it. So back to the Yoked cover, he was just like, I couldn't think of a name for this album to save my life. Like I didn't care what it was called, so nothing good was coming to me. And then I was talking to him about doing the cover art, and I let him know that I needed it, and he's like, well, what's the name of the album? I sent him like 3 awful names. Like I had no good names lined up. I was going to call it the Wake Up 2 for a while, and I was like, there's no reason. They're not similar. Like, I don't know why I would do that. And then he's like, well, how does the album, like, make you feel? And we were just, like, texting. It was like my buddy. I was like, I don't know, like, fucking Yoked, dude. Like, it's a cool album. He's like, well, there you go.
Yeah, name it. Yo, I like.
There you go.
Yeah.
I was like, what? He's like, that's the album. Like, I was like, Yoked? He's like, Yoked. And I was like, all right. And then we, like, just started, I kept talking, brainstorming. And I was like, well, like, I don't know who actually came up with the idea, but I was like, what if I'm just like coming out of an egg? Like I am the yolk, Like, and then like he's like, well, what if you're like a little like baby fetus or something? I'm like, perfect. Yep, that sounds about right. So at the very least, I was like, if people don't even listen to the album, if they don't like it, like there's no way around that cover.
Yeah,
art.
you
Like,
got to.
You're gonna see that, and like if your brain's turned on, you're gonna
It's
laugh.
gonna
Like,
intrigue you.
Yeah, you're gonna listen to at least the first song.
Yeah,
which
and
is why I
that's
like the best songs.
That's
first.
exactly how. Like that played out in my mind was when Andrew texted me who was coming on the show, like what times, and I said, oh, okay, like blah, blah, blah. And he sent me the link to the album on Spotify.
Sweet.
And I didn't know what it was. I knew it was something on Spotify, but it could have been anything. I didn't know if it was going to be podcast, music, what genre music.
Right.
And I saw the album cover. I'm like, this has to be worth looking into. Like, this is...
Yeah.
So I agree with you. I also like the backstory about how you got the name. I think that seems like if some very relatable. Like if because I'm not really good at anything, so if I was going to be good at something and needed a name for a project, that's probably exactly how I would stumble upon it. Is like shooting the shit with one of my good friends,
Right.
saying like, "What the hell are we going to call this thing?" And then out of nowhere,
It was organic.
Yeah, the
It
perfect
literally-
name.
Yep. That's the best way to do it. That's how we got the name for this kind of. It was just something that we said all the time. So you're like, yeah, if we're doing something together, that's what it has to be called.
Perfect.
It's
I love
I'm surprised. Something I was going to ask you is if the same person did both album covers because they're so different.
Mm-hmm.
So good on Kevin for your guy going.
Yeah,
it. Classic.
I'm
that guy that
pro
doesn't turn off
Kevin.
his ringer.
Yeah. Good for Kevin.
Yeah, he did the mural at the Buffalo Kids store that opened.
Yeah.
Like West Side Gun. Like
Yeah.
So that like big like back wall, there's like a bunch of artwork on that wall. Like he did that too.
Okay.
So
Wow.
he stays busy.
Yeah.
He stays busy.
Those guys, It reminds me
I'm
of little Mark.
so not good at art. Like I can barely even write. Like I have bad handwriting. I cannot draw. I've never been able to draw.
Yeah.
The amount of times in my life like I can think of where I've just been bored trying to draw like something as simple as a hockey stick,
Sketch a
something
cube.
that I hold every fucking day, and I'm like just can't get it to look like anything. Like I can't. I'm not good at straight lines. I'm just.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
I used to just doodle nonstop, and I think I'm okay at doodling. I'm a solid doodler. You've
Decent
never
doodler.
seen I'm a decent
no,
doodler.
that's
I'm a
not
double
true.
D.
I have
talking
seen
about?
your doodles before. There was one time, and I don't remember what like led up to it, but we went and did something as children, and
That
we
doesn't
came
count.
home, and Andrew was inspired to like draw and paint on his walls, and for whatever
that
reason, our
doesn't-
parents said
that
like,
doesn't count.
okay, like you can do it.
They gave you the green light.
Yeah, and he drew just this.
So stupid.
I think there was a beaver.
Yeah, so we went to the Great Wolf Lodge in Canada,
Okay.
the water park. You ever hear of
Yeah,
this
yeah.
place?
We were pretty young at the time. I'll defend Andrew.
Yeah,
in
we were
that
like
sense.
6 years old, I
Yeah.
think. And they, in some of the rooms, they have like a kids part of the room, and it's like bunk beds. And then there's like these murals on the walls of like bears, and it's like you're in a tent and camping or whatever. And I was like, this is how I want to live every day of my life.
This is my room now.
This is what I'm going to make my room. This is my style is wilderness. So I had already like drawn a baseball play, like a 6-foot baseball player on my wall
So
in
you
pencil.
dabbled in doodling.
So I dabbled in doodling before that, and then I got into a professional. I turned the baseball player into a lumberjack. I drew like a plaid shirt on him, and then yeah, there was a beaver dam and all that stuff, and it's still on the walls. But I was like, yeah, Great Wolf Lodge. This is it for me. This is my aesthetic.
Yeah, and to end that story, I think you inspired me to then try to draw on my walls. And I don't know because I have not spent any time in my childhood bedroom whatsoever
Well, you
since I was like
could
16. It's
hardly
the
get in
size
there.
of this table, yeah. But I think that I tried to draw a Calgary Flames logo on the wall. Not a good one. Again,
Yeah.
I can't draw. And I think I actually started to like paint or somehow color it in, and then ended up just putting my giant dresser in front of it. And I haven't looked it since probably I was like 10 when I did it. So it's
Yeah.
probably still there. And now that
People-
our parents are moving, somebody's going to get a surprise.
When people used to buy old houses, they used to find like love letters from World War II. Now they're just gonna find a shitty Calgary
yeah,
Flames
the worst,
logo.
the worst. I think like once I drew it, I started like coloring it in with marker or something. Not an effective way to like color on a wall, and it just looked like absolute dog shit after like I outlined it. So I think I just left it.
So
And
wait,
it's-
it's like halfway colored.
Yeah,
Is-
probably. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what I was doing when I was 10, throwing a lot of tantrums. I was a big tantrum child.
That's an understatement.
Yeah.
It was every day
Yeah.
with this kid. Every
Hey.
day.
Listen,
Just
but
about socks.
to
That's
get
it.
back
That's
to
it.
to
Yeah,
get
we-
back to the
back on track.
music portion of this podcast.
I already
You-
forgot about
Yeah,
that.
you brought up something that I think is so worth talking about, and that was you getting the opportunity to, perform live and play different shows
Yeah.
throughout the area. So going forward, as we're kind of in this decline of the pandemic and stuff starts to open back up, is that something you're looking forward to? Have you even thought about it yet? Or
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, it's crazy how you can go from doing something like I was playing a show like every weekend.
Yeah.
Sometimes twice a weekend, something
Bring that
like that.
mic just a little closer to you.
nice.
So yeah, like sometimes like more than that. It was like I don't go out. Like I don't go to bars. Like I don't really like I bartend in the summer, and like that's my going out for the year. Like I don't really care anymore. But playing shows was like an excuse to like see people as well. Like my friends would come out, people I didn't know. Like if I was opening for someone else, their fans would come. I got to meet a lot of cool people that way. And I've opened up for some of my like favorite rappers, and it's weird when something like that just is all of a sudden done.
Yeah.
Like right before the pandemic started, me and the group I was in, we were opening for Riff Raff at Showplace.
We were just talking about Riff
Yeah.
Raff the other day.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
So like the show was like we had tickets sold already. Like it was like a sold out room at Showplace Theater, and it just never happened. It got postponed for like 2 months, and then obviously COVID didn't end, so it got postponed again. And there was actually another show in the works for Chief Keef that was supposed to be which is like a little dated now. I get that, but it's still Chief Keef.
I would have been fired up. I would go to a Chief Keef concert.
Yeah, and
maybe not alone, but I would go.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't go alone either. And actually, prior to that, there was a Moneybagg Yo show that we were supposed to open for, but this is like over a year ago. I didn't know who he was. I had never heard of Moneybagg Yo. I still don't know if his music's good, but I know he's like kind of popular. So
yeah,
like,
I was
going
to say
like,
the same thing.
Have you heard?
I don't really know his music, like I said, but I know who he is.
Right,
so that
right.
holds
It's like
some
now
weight.
I get it,
Yeah.
but I've never heard. So like, I actually turned that show down. Like, who the fuck am I? Like,
Yeah,
turning down? I was like, I just figured it was, I don't know, like a name like Moneybagg Yo.
Yeah, it's hard to.
I'm
it's
like,
hard to know.
I'm good on that one.
Yeah.
Like,
Donnie, your rap name is your name.
I know. Yeah, and that's the thing. I want to circle back to that is how the album got its name is like that's kind of the reason I don't have a rap name. I never wanted to be like, oh, everyone start calling me this random thing I'm calling
because,
my you can't give yourself a nickname, so why would you give yourself a rap name?
I agree. I never thought of it like
it's
that.
so weird to do and that's why I was like, if it happens organically and like somehow people start, I'm like, fine, like I'll let it.
Yeah.
I'll put it on things, but
Yeah.
like I'm not just gonna start calling myself something random. Like,
You know what? The story I always tell people though is like Slash from Guns N' Roses. His real name is like Eugene Horowitz or something. So just imagine being Slash, and then one day he's just like walks into a room with his buddies and he's like, start calling me Slash. And everybody was like, shut the fuck up, Eugene. What are you talking about, Slash? But he just kept going like, no, it's Slash. It's Slash. I'm going to wear these fucking top hats and that's going to be my thing.
But
And now he is Slash.
About that though, like your explanation as to why your name is your rap name and stuff like that, I think it shows two things. One, I don't think that it's like misfitting, right? Like I don't think when you hear, I don't know. I guess that's just my opinion.
No, I think I know what you're trying to say. If I may, Matthew, is that like the fact of the matter is, if the music is good, it doesn't matter what a guy's name is.
that's what I figured.
Exactly.
Like,
But and also, it's not like your name was Eugene whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you were in a position where you're like, well, I can't do anything with this name, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it works. And also, I think it comes back to that like, organic, like authenticity kind of trend that you seem to keep on as far as whether it be music, the albums, the album covers, all that stuff. And I think that all fits together well when you're talking about, securing and finding a fan base, like staying.
I try not to take myself too seriously.
Yeah, which
in
is
like all aspects of life too. So music is just another,
yeah,
another thing like that.
which is a great way to do it.
Yeah, I always think about like the best. I think the most successful people are sometimes the people who take what they do really seriously, but don't take themselves seriously. That's the key.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. I heard Justin Timberlake say that one time.
Nice.
That's what I
There
was
you
like,
go.
I trust
Not
anything
bad.
he says.
I would also trust Justin Timberlake.
You ever seen that movie In Time? Dude,
Underrated movie.
I don't
man.
think I've ever
All
seen
the
it.
time.
I have to
So
go home
good.
and watch it.
it's
People got to watch that movie because
Yeah.
they don't know. They sleep on that. That's like
it's a good movie on the surface, but if you dive into it more, like how time is money, or like that's literally how the world is.
Yeah.
Like sure the currency's different, but like you spend your time making money to spend that money, and then it's like you're spending minutes of your
Yeah.
life.
We could really
So-
take it down to simple accounting principles. Opportunity cost. Yeah, there you
uh-huh.
go.
Let's put up an Excel sheet on the
Yeah,
Okay.
perfect. So are you a big movie guy then?
I
Or-
love movies.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, we do a lot of movie talk on this podcast.
I'm with it.
Because that's Andrew's bread and butter right there is movies. So what movie genre? Are you action movie guy or just
I mean,
anything?
If I'm throwing something on by myself, it's probably a comedy just to background noise. But if I'm watching something action, thriller, throw in some mystery or something,
Okay.
who knows?
Yeah,
I don't mind.
I love a good.
I just watched Shutter Island for the first time.
Yo,
We just
me
did it on
too.
film. Did you really?
First time ever,
I love
maybe
that
2
movie.
weeks ago. And I don't know what. how
I
it's
think
going on.
that. Can I say something about that movie before we discuss it? Because I
Yeah.
think that if you guys both recently
let's
saw
spoil it.
we should-
Spoiler alert for
Yeah.
Shutter
If
Island.
you haven't seen Shutter Island, but
But here's the problem with Shutter Island. And I don't
I
know if
just
you
saw it.
guys remember.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if you guys remember when it came out.
yeah.
I feel like everything, marketing wise for it, displayed it as it was going to be like a horror movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's how because I watched it fairly early on after it came out, kind of expecting. I feel like the commercials had that old lady. The old lady I'm talking about.
Yeah,
Like,
she's
Right,
like
the
staring
shit-
at him.
Yeah, like
That was a
it
big part
didn't
of the
really,
trailer.
and it didn't really play towards kind of like a mysterious movie. It played more towards like a horror movie, in my opinion. And I think that's why a lot of people didn't at first watch it. Not that I don't know how it did. I don't know if it did good or bad, but once I kind of figured out what type of movie it actually was, it was a lot more intriguing to me.
Yeah.
And that's why I liked it. But I haven't seen it in probably 3 years. So
Yeah, I think that like because when we were talking about it on the other podcast I do, Film Juice, because that movie looks amazing. Also, the cinematography is unreal in that movie. There's a
Yeah.
ton of great shots.
Start to
Everything's so
finish.
purposeful, absolutely. And so we were like, how was this not nominated for an Oscar in 2010? I think the marketing definitely had something to do with it. That also was like the year like Black Swan, Social Network, like a bunch of King's Speech, a bunch of good shit like came out that year.
Well,
and stuff,
Leonardo
but-
just has terrible luck with that sort of thing. He didn't have an Oscar until The Revenant.
and he deserved one for Wolf of Wall Street. I'm just going to
He
say that
deserves
right
one
now.
for almost every movie he does.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that I honestly think the reason they gave him one for The Revenant was just because they missed him on The Wolf of Wall Street. Not that, like, that role is so physically taxing, The Revenant, I mean,
Right.
but he deserved it for Wolf of Wall Street, if you ask me. And I think they were like, our bad.
Fine.
We had to give it to the AIDS movie. You get it. You
Yeah,
get it,
yeah,
man. We could. There's
yeah,
nothing we could
yeah.
do. And those guys, Matthew McConaughey and Jared Leto, are both really like that. Dallas Buyers Club. That's a good movie, and
That
they're
is a
sick
good
in it.
movie.
But well, they are sick in it because that's not an age joke. But
Yeah.
you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. But yeah, Shutter Island. I knew what was going on immediately. And I'll tell you why. Spoiler alert. His badge that he flashes for just a second, same shape as the security guards at the asylum. So I was like,
Oh, really?
got you. Like that's
I don't know
that's
if I
what they're
caught
doing.
that.
Well, that's the because what I was also saying was I don't know if I'd watch this movie again, knowing the twist now, because the twist is such a big part of it. Because you
Yeah.
literally like I had to take notes during it, and my notes were just like, what the fuck is going on? I have no clue.
Yeah.
But then my pal Joe that I do the podcast was with, but it's worth watching again because you get to see there's clues everywhere. I was like, all right, you got me on that one. Yeah, that's pretty good. There's a question that I wanted to ask you about the freestyling. You said that's how you kind of got into it.
Yeah.
Is that what your writing process is now? Do you write through freestyling? How do you do it?
It changes. Like sometimes I'll sit down and like I've finished a song with like my buddy Gabe goes by Badfish. Like him and I have sat down, no beat, no words written down, song like done, like start to finish done in like 2 hours. Like that's happened, and he'll vouch for me on this one. Sometimes it takes me like 4 months to finish a song. So like it depends on if the song has a purpose or if it's just 2 verses and a hook, something like that. But to answer your question fully, yeah, I'll freestyle for it a little bit, try to see like if I can catch like the right flow or vibe to it, just to see what direction I want to head in. And if I happen to say lines worth saving while I'm freestyling, then I'll write them down and kind of plug them in as I go. But yeah, it's different each song. Like, you know, there's a couple songs on Yoked, like the last song on that album, Bucket List, like that song didn't exist like 3 weeks before that album came out. But songs like Feelings, like that song was done and recorded like a year before the album was even out. So it's different for each, basically.
You mentioned your pal Badfish.
Yeah.
I noticed that. So does he do like all your beats or what?
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
he goes-
Both
Okay.
albums, he's done every single song.
How did you guys link up? What's your relationship like with him?
We're good buds now. Originally, I honestly don't know. We just ended up friends on Facebook, and then somehow we became friends on Snapchat. And I would post a verse randomly, he would post a random beat, and then kind of the same thing was happening, like parallel with my brother and him, like same as like friends on Facebook. God knows how. And then we all started linking up randomly just because like music. And then the first time we ever met, we made a song that will never be released because it's awful. But it's that's one for the archives. But we've just been friends ever since. That was probably like 5 years ago, maybe. I don't know. I have no track of time anymore, man.
So
4 years.
To touch on that, do you sit on a lot of music, or I mean, I know you
Yeah.
said sometimes, but is it a lot of times that, is it just because, like, okay, I wrote this and I know it's going to be ready one day, it's just not ready yet, like I want to tweak it, or is it just like, I like this one, I'm just going to wait for the right time to kind of get it
I
out there?
procrastinate a lot
So
with
do I.
everything, dude. Like, I mean, if you look at like my Spotify or my Apple Music, like I don't have any singles out,
Yeah.
like at all. Like they're like back in the day, I have like 4 random songs on SoundCloud. Don't look them up.
Everybody look them up right now.
No, it's no. I'll hack into that account and erase it. But that was like just me having fun, just
Yeah,
putting
just
something
shooting
out
the
to
shit,
put it out.
kind of.
That was like high school.
Yeah,
like,
early.
Yeah, like real early. But since then, like it's just like if I have a good song, I'll kind of store it away until there's a couple, and then I put a project out. Like at least at this point, that's how I've been doing it.
Okay. Is there times where though you'll sit on like half of a you know what I mean? Like I don't know the best way to explain this,
Sit on half of a song.
Oh yeah, because this is how my brain works. Like I'll have half of a thought, and I'll be like, I know at some point in time I have to come back to this thought because it's worth thinking about, but
Yeah.
I can't do it right now.
Yeah.
Is that how it is with music? Like, do you think like
For sure.
okay,
For sure. I've started songs, wrote down like 3 lines, and then didn't touch it again for 3 months. Just
And
because like I know it
yeah.
exists still, and like
Yeah.
I know like, if the beat started playing, I would be like, oh, I recognize that. I have this, and this to it.
so is that
And
I was gonna say, is that how you do it too? Is it usually like you kind of hear a beat and you're like, oh, okay, I can write based off this, or do you kind of have some pre-written stuff, and then when you hear that beat, think, oh, this fits perfectly, or is it just a mix of both?
it's a mix of both. Probably more so I hear the beat and then write to it.
Okay.
But sometimes if I sit on a song for long enough, I won't like it anymore because like I'll either do it too many times out loud practicing it, or just like hear it too many times
get
if it's
sick
recorded.
Of it. Yeah.
So then that's when I'll sit down with Gabe and be like, maybe we don't even have the conversation. I'll just pick a different beat.
Yeah.
And then just put that verse to it. If it works, sometimes it's better. Like there's a song, Maintain, that's on Yoked. It's my least favorite song on the album. I don't like it at all. But that was originally to a completely different beat, like the entire song. So sometimes it's just, if I hear it too long or it sits too long, it gets stale, and then I just switch it up.
Yeah. Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep, sometimes that's what you got to do, but it sounds a lot to me like everything kind of with your music comes back to that organic thing.
Yeah.
A lot of that, you're in some ways letting these things come to you, but you're not passing up opportunity.
Yeah.
When it walks up to you, you're grabbing it right away. And I don't know, man, those SoundCloud things, again, I mean, don't anybody look them up, but it's good to know sometimes that everybody's got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And like I put those out, not like I didn't even like promote them or anything.
Yeah.
Like even now I should promote more than I do.
Is that
I-
difficult for you to get into that kind of promotion
It's
headspace?
weird because like especially with what I'm doing, like I said, I don't tell people like, "Oh, I'm a rapper." Like I hate how that sounds. I hate like when people say it to me. And so like I don't expect anyone to be like, "Oh, this random skinny white dude is a rapper." Like, "Oh, everyone is." So like I just don't tell people like literally if they find out, they find out. I hope you like it.
Yeah, I know
I
what you
think-
mean.
But
I feel
get
that way with the
I was gonna
podcast
say,
sometimes.
because self-promotion is kind of a difficult thing to do, because you
Right.
don't want to like, especially on like like your personal platforms and stuff. A lot of these people or at least are somehow connected to, and it's not you almost like don't want to shove it down their throat in a sense. Like you don't want to be like, hey, like you have to check this out kind
Right.
of stuff. And it's almost like also it's like a vulnerability thing. Like, okay, now I'm putting this out there, and people that maybe didn't know before, now they know. And that can be a good and bad thing, because chances are they're going to check it out, right? Which can benefit you. But if you're not, super comfortable with doing that, it's tough to get yourself to get there. But I think in the long run, especially, with where you're at, you have a good base of music out there available for people to listen. You've been involved in different shows and at different places with well-known people, right? I think that, once you take that step, it's only going to continue to grow your brand.
Right. Yeah.
That's one thing I miss about shows is like the random people that
Yeah.
I wouldn't have normally even reached. Like,
Yeah.
we opened for this artist called Wax like 2 years ago, and apparently he's not allowed in Canada or something. Travel. I didn't ask. I didn't care. But
It happens.
But he has a lot of Canada fans, and we're pretty close to there. So when he played in Buffalo, like a lot more than half of the people that showed up for him were just straight from Canada. So that's like a whole audience that I had never, like they've never seen us perform or anything. And it's funny because after that show, there was like a couple random people. After every show, people come up to you that you don't know, and it's just like congratulating you almost.
Yeah.
It's kind of weird, but I'm really bad at taking compliments too. So I'm just like, oh, cool, man, and like go on my way. But that show, there were people from like Canada, like taking pictures with us and stuff, and that was the weirdest thing that I've experienced because they like to them like.
Yeah, you just played a show.
Right,
Yeah.
and I opened for like one of their favorite rappers. So like to them, I'm like almost someone, but like to me, like I don't like where did those pictures end up? Like, who the hell has pictures with me
out there?
Like that's
so
funny to me.
I can speak on that a little bit from the side of like an audience member because I was in Shirkston, like Ontario, one time. And there's a bar there that they have like live music and bands. And the one night we had been drinking all day, and we went because there was live music and cheap drinks. And I was, I had definitely had a lot to drink. And it was a Rush cover band that was playing that night. And I was loving it. Like I have never been more like in touch at a performance with the band that was playing than I was at this night. Like I'm saying, I was fronting. So they ended, and I was hammered, and I just had to talk to the dude playing the guitar. Like I was like, I gotta talk to that guy. He was so good, and I could only imagine what he thought of me coming up to him. Right, saying like, "Dude, you play Rush cover songs really good, man." Like, I don't even know what I could have been saying. You do Rush good. Yeah, you do Rush really good, bro. Thanks. I appreciate your performance. Yeah, but so I don't know. Could have been one of those situations.
But I think that we all know folks that maybe do a little too much chest thumping, and tell me if you feel this way. There's a part that of you that you just don't want to become that person, because it seems maybe like you lose part of yourself when you get into that, but at the same time, it's almost necessary now, especially like you were saying. That's something that I had not considered with the, with the shows being gone. Is that's a way people discover new artists and stuff.
Like when Yoked was like when that was coming out, like first of all, it got delayed like a lot. It was supposed to come out like September, but I just like fucked around all quarantine basically. But I was supposed to be like opening for big acts like all summer. Like there was a bunch of shows planned, and like so many shows, little shows would have been in between, and like I could have promoted the album at all of those shows. And even once it came out, I could have had hard copies, handed those out, had the link on like a scan thing. Like so many different things could have happened, but everything was canceled. So I was like, well, it's not like I can really promote this the way I want to, so I'm not going to rush to get it out. That's what I tell myself now, but in reality, I'm just lazy.
Yeah. But it's always good to reinforce your own like mental state. Like I did that for a reason.
Right.
Yeah, that's how I am too.
I don't know if it's always a good thing.
Well, it's better than being like, fuck, dude, and like being like, I should have done this earlier.
Yeah,
that's how I would look at it.
But what you're talking about, I mean, that's a completely different skill set. Is somebody putting up a video on Twitter or something, being like, this is what's going on, and also like those folks who their Instagram stories are like 19 little dots or stuff, even more, and it's like, here we are at the mixing thing, and then whatever you call it, the mixing board, and then here we are in the booth, and it's you see that, and it's like, that's weird, but I don't know. I guess it's on its way out, but it feels the skill that I would rather have is the in person.
Right. Yeah, it's so much easier, especially at a show. Like they had just heard you. Like they already know what they're signing up for.
The ice is broken.
Yeah.
Because they kind of already know if they like you or not.
Right. They wouldn't be talking to me if they
didn't.
So
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, like me and that guy from the Rush cover band.
Right.
I wouldn't have talked to
It
him
all
if I didn't
comes
like
back to that.
Yeah.
Exactly that.
So we talked a little bit before the show, and you said you're a pretty big basketball fan, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I wanted to talk a little bit about that, but first I wanted to bring up, and I don't know if either of you saw this, LeBron. So the podcast knows I don't
that
really
whole
follow basketball that greatly, but LeBron James sprained his ankle, correct?
Yeah.
That's what happened.
Like 6 weeks ago. Or something.
Yeah, and I heard in a press conference, he made the statement that because of his sprained ankle, he never thinks that he'll be back to 100%, but he still wants to play in the playoffs because he thinks that he can still provide something to the team. And I think that as LeBron James, that is the funniest comment I've ever heard him make. Because not only is he currently the best basketball player in the NBA, but he's one of the top 2 basketball players of all time. So to think that he wants to play just because he thinks he can contribute, like I would say, obviously, LeBron James, you can contribute
Right.
to a basketball team.
Yeah. So, is there a question in there?
No, I just wanted to bring this up because I really wanted to see what Andrew's reaction about it because
Well, one, I'm not positive that LeBron is the best player in the league right now.
who is it?
Giannis, Kawhi.
Come on.
Oh, come on.
See, this is
right
shit.
now,
on.
now.
This is what I was gonna
right
get
at this
into.
moment. Right at this moment.
Sprained
We're not
ankle?
talking-
Well, he's not at 100%. He said it himself. So how could you know?
Fair enough, but I'm like this year or whatever. Let's say like LeBron at this age, what he's doing.
This is a clickbait. He just wants to clip this.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I will not quit. I will not clip this because I'm not sure that I know what I'm talking about.
I don't know what I'm talking about, but it doesn't sound like you do.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
So,
what else
what-
are we doing here? That's what it's all about.
So you're picking right now, like this season, current, present age. You have Giannis and Kawhi over LeBron.
yeah, like let's say they're all, we're doing
You're
like
drafting.
we're in gym
Yeah.
class.
You
Boom,
have
boom,
first
boom.
pick.
Mhm.
Who you picking?
I would probably pick Giannis out of those 3 guys.
See, I don't
now?
know. I don't know how those guys stack up. I would pick LeBron James, and I'm not even a big LeBron James fan. But 1, I think he's just an unbelievable leader. 2, I like Blaze Pizza. So LeBron James is coming to me first overall.
Okay.
So what's your team? Who's your? You know,
I'm a Lakers fan.
Okay.
And let me
no, yeah, we're not judging.
let
yet.
me back up though. I was watching games where like Wesley Johnson was starting at shooting guard, and
Yep.
like just like that Lakers team. Like I started liking them. It's funny because if you like rewind, like 10 years. I didn't like Kobe because I was like, well, not 10 years, even further back than that. I didn't like Kobe originally because I was such a big LeBron fan, and I always felt like you had to choose one. And then like I grew a brain. I was like, I can like both of these guys. So I think the first time I actually started liking the Lakers was when Nick Young signed with them. This was like a while ago.
Oh, yeah.
Swaggy P. Like
Yep.
that was my guy for like the longest time for almost no reason at all.
Yeah.
So I started watching Lakers games, and it just happened to be when they were like awful. So I didn't like, and I was like just sort of getting into the NBA at that time. So I didn't feel like I was bandwagoning because they were so bad at the time. So I was like, this is perfect. Like my favorite players, like on a cool team. They're not good. People can't really talk shit about it right now.
Yeah.
And then time went on. Kobe retired, like RIP, like, and then all of a sudden they got LeBron. I was like, oh, it's cool to be a Lakers fan again.
Yeah.
Like, that's awesome.
I don't. Lakers is a franchise though that I don't know if it's ever not cool to be a fan of. But
It's fun to be a Lakers
yeah,
fan
yeah,
again.
yeah.
Let me
That's a
rephrase.
huge
Yeah.
difference. But that's interesting because that's kind of what, man, that's kind of what sports has become though. Like I didn't get into the NBA until I was like in 10th grade. I started liking the Nets
Yeah.
because our Uncle Jack's from Brooklyn. He died. I was like, I'm gonna, it was the year after the Nets moved there.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm gonna start watching the Nets, see if I can get into this, because so I can keep connection to that side of the
Right.
family, that sort of that past there. And there were, I was wearing like my Nets sweatshirt, and there were people that be like, you don't know the Nets and all this stuff, like you just like them because they had signed all those
Yeah.
That was when they got Paul Pierce and KG
Oh, the
and
worst
stuff.
trade of all time.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Dude, Billy King was the GM of the Nets at that time. Just an awful man. I don't know what he's doing, if he's working in basketball right now. I have not kept up on the career of Billy King. Terrible, terrible person.
It'd be weird if you did. I'm glad you don't know anything about it.
Keep tab. Well, for revenge, you never know. You gotta keep tabs on your enemies. And Billy King,
Keep your enemies
Billy
close.
King is on that list. But that's when because you do kind of make a conscious decision. Like, this is, I think this is what I'm gonna start liking.
Yeah.
Let's see if I can get into that. And that's something you have to take into consideration. Is, are people gonna come at me for this? Call me a bandwagoner or whatever.
See, I think the Lakers. I like the Lakers colors. I think the purple and gold can never miss. 2, I think it's made the reason that I brought this up not the reason, but the fact that I brought this up even more interesting now that we have a Lakers fan and a Nets fan in the room, because that's potential NBA Finals material right there. No.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll ask you both: if it comes down Lakers Nets, who wins?
The Nets do.
Lakers do. The Lakers do.
That was a good conversation.
I look at it like this: if those two play in a 7-game series, I know LeBron's banged up right now. Anthony Davis just came back from an injury. I don't see Kevin Durant making it through an entire playoffs for starters. James Harden's been riddled with injuries. Kyrie's been in and out.
Kyrie just doesn't even show up sometimes.
Yeah,
right?
no,
Sometimes it depends on how he's feeling day to day.
Yeah, he has the most like PTO time of any employee I've ever seen in my life. But I'm thinking if they go to a 7-game series in the finals, like, I don't know, like the Nets can score and score and score, and that's great. And I'm not taking anything away from any of those three or even the depth that they do have. But the Lakers can score with them. I think if LeBron and AD are healthy, the difference for me is defense. Like, even with LeBron and AD out, like, the Lakers were still like number 1 in defensive ratings, like efficiency, everything, the weeks that they were out. And then they get back 2 great defenders, like Anthony Davis, arguably like a top 5 defender for a big in the league. So I just don't think that long haul, I don't think that the Nets can keep up defensively. So.
I think if it went, I think if any NBA Finals goes to a Game 7 and LeBron is involved, I think you have a hard time making an argument that the other team, regardless of talent, just because that's kind of been one of the things that's made him who he is as a player, is not only his ability, but like his ability to win games like that. Like his clutch gene is there. So I don't know. Andrew seems to think differently.
No, I don't know. I mean,
but
if the Nets can come out early and just, again, start making buckets after buckets, then that's probably their best chance. But you made a very compelling point about whether these guys are going to be able to stay healthy throughout the playoffs and throughout the, if they play a 7-game series. That's actually a really good point. So
one thing to kind of combat myself, what I said there is because, like, when Kevin Durant has been out this year, the Nets have actually been better statistically across the board. Like, James Harden is the centerpiece of that offense. It happened so quick. Like, he got traded 2 games later. Like, everything
Is he
changed.
still fat?
He was never fat. He just, like, he swindled.
Look, like,
I saw some pictures of him looking a little
that's
hefty.
the thing. People were saying, like, is this guy wearing, like, padding under his clothes? Because he got to Brooklyn, and it was like he dropped 50 pounds or something.
And Blake Griffin did a similar thing with the dunking aspect.
Yeah.
He just like, I can't do that anymore. That thing I was super good at.
And then I saw a video of him on Twitter the other day just yamming on some fool.
Yeah.
It was against the Bucks, I think. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so then this is the last basketball question I'll ask.
Sure.
So you have the Lakers in the West, Nets in the East. So looking at it long term, which one do you think is more likely to make it to the NBA final? Like, if only one of them was going to go, do you think the Nets have a better chance of coming out of the East, or the Lakers have a better chance of coming out of the West?
That's a good question. I hate to go.
I think that
I'll go back and forth on this one. I don't know.
Hey, I mean, I guess you don't have to decide. You could throw out arguments for both. I'm just curious.
I don't know. I think that maybe
It depends if the Nets see the Bucks in the playoffs.
that's what I'm saying. I think the Nets potentially have a more difficult road.
So as of right now, how does that seeding shake out? I don't know.
I don't know. I'm going to say the Lakers have a harder road there, but I think
Well,
the Nets
because
have
of
a
their-
harder one game to play, like one
series.
series.
If
Right.
they play the
If
Bucks.
they run
yeah.
in with, if they run into the Bucks, I think the Bucks would win that 7-game series. But they may not even see each other in the playoffs. It's possible Philly beats them. Like, who knows what Jimmy Butler is going to end up doing? Like, the Heat are in shambles right now, but they made it to the finals last year, and they weren't even supposed to be where they were at all. So, but in the West, like, the West is so top heavy at this point. Like, the Suns are good. Like, it's just like, oh god, the Jazz. Like, who knows what's going to happen? Even with Jamal Murray out, like, Denver's still right there. Like, they had added Aaron Gordon, and I mean, they've only gotten better since. So, I don't know.
Who's that? Who? Keep going. Sorry, I got to think my own thought through. I didn't mean to cut you off. No, he doesn't.
What do you?
remember.
Yeah, now you got. I lost it.
I was trying to think. Who is that little dude? I mean, I guess he's probably not little. I can't think of his name. He played for. He went to some random ass college. I think he plays for Memphis, maybe.
Ja Morant.
Ja Morant. That is the coolest dude alive. I follow him on Instagram. He's the only NBA player I follow on Instagram. If I had to pick a team, it would be whatever team he's on. I think he's so cool.
Yeah,
What's
Sorry.
his deal?
I just think he's cool.
he is. He is a cool guy.
Yeah, thank you. Like, follow him on Instagram. Check him. He's cool. And I don't know. I think that, like, if I had to pick, like, my favorite type of NBA player, I would pick, like, a little guy with, like, sick ball skills that can just.
Pause.
Go ahead.
No, you didn't hear yourself, did you? Never mind. We'll move on. We'll move on. But
Yo, I'm all over the place today. I didn't even really have a long day either. It's just how I talk, I guess. What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
but I'm with you there. Little short point
Sure.
guard.
I think about Isaiah Thomas constantly.
Constantly, you just never
I
stop
do.
thinking about.
Well, I mean, a lot because
He lies awake at
He
night.
really sometimes, yeah. Sometimes I do lay awake and I think about Isaiah Thomas because he just got absolutely fucked.
Is he on a? Is he still in the Pelicans? He signed a 10-day with them, and I don't know if it got renewed.
I want to say no, but I have no
I
idea.
feel like I would have heard about it if it was renewed, so probably not.
I don't know, man. Yeah, that was a rough situation.
So we did a lot of music stuff. We touched on some basketball stuff. I think it's only fitting that we hop into the Hoodwin of the Week before we go any further.
Oh yeah.
I'm with it.
And this is one that Andrew has kind of been trying to tee me up for a few episodes now, and I've been right on the fence, and we came into it. Donny liked it, so I'm into it. I know who's going to win the fight, but this week's fight is Steve Irwin, the Crocodile Hunter, versus a werewolf.
That is correct.
Yeah.
And we are playing by standard werewolf rules.
Yep. Not
Whatever that means.
Whatever that means to you, standard werewolf
SWR.
Criteria.
Standard werewolf
Yeah.
rules. Yep.
yeah, whatever that is to you is how you play. Because you know what we mean, folks. There's a lot of different forms of werewolves out there. But to get into it, yeah, I know. Do you want to start us off, or do you want me to go?
I will just say that I'm very excited for this one because I knew we wanted to do Steve Irwin, and I was like, Steve Irwin versus a werewolf, it's perfect. He's dealt with every animal on the planet. Here's something that doesn't exist. Let's see how he matches up. And you said, no way we're doing Steve Irwin versus a werewolf. Finally, I wore you down, and here we are getting to talk about it. But the original one was Teddy Roosevelt versus a werewolf. And this one is definitely better. Teddy Roosevelt, he's like a wilderness guy,
This is what I deal
man.
with on a day-to-day basis. Like, how... All right, so I'll jump right in then here and say, I love Steve Irwin. I really do. He's done great things for the world. His kids are still doing great things for the world. The way that he died is sad. But at the end of the day, we have to say he died to a stingray. How the fuck is he going to fight a werewolf?
And
Andrew?
here's what you need to realize, Matthew.
The stingray, he didn't let
Matthew,
the stingray kill him.
Matthew,
No,
let
so
me
you're gonna
say
hit
it.
the red.
Let
Don't
me say
yell
it.
at me.
Steve Irwin let that stingray kill him.
What?
Yeah, see, this is what I deal with on a day-to-day basis.
Steve Irwin let that stingray kill him because he was obviously very close to that animal, and he was obviously very perceptive to what animals were feeling. That's how he was able to manage so many of them. He knew that this thing was scared and was probably going to lash out, and he didn't want to spook it any more than it had to. He let the stingray kill him to cause the stingray less distress because he loved animals more than his own life. And he proved that with his death.
Okay, so how's he going to kill a werewolf?
Yeah, what if the werewolf gets like emotionally uncomfortable
Yeah,
around him?
exactly.
He's just going to blow his own brains out?
Fight's over. There goes every fucking point that you were going to try to make.
How do you figure that he let a stingray...
And remember, a stingray there's only one way that a stingray can kill you. There's only one. Werewolf, I mean...
Plethora.
Yeah, it could kill you in multiple different ways.
Teeth, claws.
Yeah.
Standard werewolf.
However, I will say that Steve Irwin was better at dealing with animals with teeth and claws than he was stingrays, apparently.
There's a thing. Yeah. He obviously had a very heightened sense of when it came to these dangerous animals. He was ready to go. The guy had 10 fingers. Let's just think about that for a second. Dealing with crocodiles, venomous, crazy big snakes, all kinds of animals with big, crazy teeth and claws every day for his whole fucking life.
Still had all his phalanges.
10 fingers. Fucking shop teachers don't have 10 fingers. They're not messing with crocodiles.
Yeah, all they're teaching
How many shop teachers do you hang out with? Like, how many do you know of?
I know.
If you know more than one, it's the wrong answer.
I think
we had 3.
We had 3 at our high school.
Yeah.
What the
enough to count on one of their hands.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll give you that. Shop teachers lose fingers trying to teach you how to make a little what are those cars thing? You know what I'm talking about? Soapbox derbies.
Soapbox derby.
Yeah,
that's I don't know.
Whatever.
It sounds right.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy. And yeah, he could. So I'm not saying that he doesn't have the ability to deal with these animals in a way that most people couldn't. But we're talking about a mythological creature that apparently can only be killed by like a silver bullet.
Yeah. Which Steve Irwin would. Well, it's just silver. It doesn't have to be a bullet.
So it could be a silver stake because he doesn't have a gun.
It could be a silver anything. You could kill it with a silver spoon.
Well, that stuff.
I'm pretty sure that's
we'll give him the benefit of the doubt and give him like
is there prep time? Like,
I'm not going to say there's prep time, but I disagree. To say that Steve Irwin doesn't just have a silver.
I think that there is. I think that there is prep time.
There has to be.
There's prep time for Steve. There's no prep time for the werewolf. What happens is...
what would he even do?
Yeah, exactly. He's like, well, I'm going to turn into a werewolf tonight, so I got to be ready.
Stretching.
Yeah. Stretching the night before the full moon.
Do they stretch? I mean, think about when they howl. You know, they're
they definitely.
That's like a yoga pose.
They're very limber.
Think about when a dog wakes up in the morning. The first thing they do is get a good stretch in.
Yeah.
Werewolf stuff.
So the werewolf is limbered up. Steve Irwin's got some type of silver contraption.
I think that Steve Irwin's going into this fight as prepared as he can be. I think he's going on a classic Steve Irwin adventure, knowing very well that he has a solid chance of having to fight a werewolf to death by himself.
Mm-hmm. And again, to fight, to interact with, he didn't really fight these animals, but to come so close to situations where he could have potentially been really hurt or killed even, all he had with him was his short shorts and his boots. And he did pretty well for himself. I think that Steve goes in, because his whole approach to this animal wrangling type thing is very calm, low, ready for a quick movement, because he knows from dealing with the snakes, dealing with the crocodiles, that when you are face to face with an animal or a creature like this werewolf, things can go from 0 to 100 like that. And he's always ready. So I think it's going to be very difficult for this werewolf to actually pull one over on him.
Yeah,
almost
exactly.
always.
Son of a bitch, Donny.
I mean,
son of a bitch.
Yeah. I mean, R.I.P. my mans, but like, nah. I came into this thinking I was going to pick Steve Irwin. I even think I said that to you outside, but
collusion.
Like even with prep time, like you brought up, he cares about animals. Like, does he even have it in him? Like, if he physically could kill this werewolf, would he? Like,
because that would defeat your whole point of
no. Let me tell you what the difference is. A werewolf is obviously is a human being that, to no fault of their own or consent, gets turned into this monstrous beast that they have no control over, and oftentimes will kill people or turn other people into werewolves. And every werewolf that you hear says that it's a curse. and that it's a terrible thing
It's
that they
true.
wouldn't wish on anybody.
So I think
So-
you take the moral aspect of it out.
Well,
That's
I
fair.
think that the moral aspect for Steve Irwin
Is that
is
he needs to kill
that
the
he needs
person.
to kill this guy.
Yeah, it's a civic duty
See,
at
that's
that
a-
point.
That's right.
That's a fair argument as far as like his
is great if he's got the sandpaper to
willpower,
do it. Yeah.
Which he's got sandpaper.
Mm-hmm.
Steve Irwin is a gritty guy, but at the end of the day, and I don't know the statistics off the top of my head, but I have to assume that once you become a werewolf, you are instantly bigger, stronger, and faster, and have an uncanny ability to like hunt compared to the average human. Is that probably factually correct?
Yeah, I mean, you're an animal.
Yeah. So I think that right there almost takes Steve Irwin out of the question, because I know that, like, I guess in movies, I don't know if this ever happened in real life, but people in movies fight wolves and they win sometimes. Liam Neeson did it once.
Mhm.
But
Some little Jack Daniels bottles.
Yeah.
That's all you need. If you give Steve, that is more than Steve Irwin needs.
Yeah.
You know that.
But I feel like werewolves, because they still have a little bit of human in them, you know, they're able to stand up on 2 feet. Like they're humongous.
Yeah, they're man wolves.
I just don't think that. I mean, I think he has the willpower. I think he has all the things that you would need to stand a chance in a fight against a werewolf, except for physical attributes. The werewolf just has him too cooked on physical attributes because. So I guess I should ask this question. I don't know. As far as a werewolf goes, if you just cut them with silver, are they gonna die, or do you have to is that just the only way you can kill them, like by stabbing them in the heart?
I've heard it both ways. That sometimes all you need
Is like a
excuse
slice?
me, is like a little boop, and then. But I think I mean, it makes more sense to me.
Has to be a
not that I'm a
stab to the
werewolf
heart.
doctor anymore, but yeah, not even a stab to the heart, just that you got to kill him
A
with
lethal
silver
blow.
somehow.
A lethal
lethal blow.
with- via silver.
Typically lethal blow.
Because I think that if he could get away with, you know, almost like it was like a poison like sword with just like a slice, and the werewolf dies, I think that then it becomes a completely different fight. But I think that I don't think that he'd be able to compete with a werewolf that's like, because if a werewolf's looking at Steve Irwin and knows that it's life or death, a werewolf's gonna go apeshit.
But again, Steve Irwin, because it's not a man versus a man, it's a man versus an animal. And what man is better against an animal than Steve Irwin? He's used to this sort of. That's what I've been saying this whole time.
I've been alive for 22 years. I've never even been, knock on wood, I've never even been close to death by animal. Steve Irwin, master animal guy. Again, he died via animal. I understand what you're saying, and I actually think that after hearing you explain it, it's the most logical that you've sounded in this whole Steve Irwin let the animal kill him argument. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah, that was a rough start.
Yeah.
I'm still wrapping my head around that. Well, okay, Steve Irwin against just like your average bear, because a werewolf would.
I would rather fight a werewolf than a bear.
I actually
And I'll tell you
agree
why.
with that. I think he has a better chance because I think the silver gives him a better chance, because that lethal blow with the silver will kill a werewolf. Where if you're fighting like a grizzly bear is fucking Steve Irwin up, by the way.
Anybody.
But whatever, even if we give you the same tool that we give, like, it doesn't have to be silver necessarily, but like that blow is not killing that bear instantly like it would the werewolf.
Yeah, bears.
Because if you hit that what I imagine, again, this is folklore of werewolves. If you hit that werewolf with a lethal blow with silver, he's gonna instantly like die and turn back into a human and be a dead human laying there.
Correct.
Whereas if you stab a grizzly bear, that bear's just gonna be more pissed. That thing's gonna rip your face off.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But what about like if a bear and a werewolf ran into each other?
Bear.
Ooh,
Bear.
grizzly
werewolf.
bear.
Can a bear turn into? Can a bear?
Grizzly bears
get
are
like turned
fucking
into a
humongous.
werewolf?
I don't think so.
No.
Can any?
I think it's like a human thing.
I think
I
that
don't know.
like
Okay.
a full-grown like male grizzly bear is beating just about any. And I watched the Jungle Book last night, so like I watched Baloo fight. What's his name?
Shara Khan.
Yeah,
we
Shara
were just
Khan,
talking
yeah.
about him.
And I mean, he puts up the best fight on anybody. Like a big ass bear is a violent ass animal.
Yeah.
people talk about all the time, like grizzly bear versus gorilla. I don't know if you've ever heard
I've had this conversation for
yeah,
hours.
exactly. And I'm team grizzly bear. Like, I don't think that there's many things that can kill a bear of that size that's not like a gun.
Yeah. Talk to me about a hippo.
Hippos are fucked up too.
Because those things, like,
Yeah, more
sure,
people,
it's going to take
They
some...
kill
the
more
amount of people
animals,
that
or they
die
kill more
by
people
hippo
than any other
yeah,
animal.
is like a lot.
Yep.
Like,
It's the most.
Like, that hippo is going to be fucked up at the end for sure, either way, but, like,
I feel
assuming it wins
I
the
feel
fight.
like hippos have pretty thick skin too.
Oh, for sure.
Which
For
definitely
sure.
is
but,
an
like,
advantage.
grizzly bear, like, their claws are, like, 10 inches.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
they're
like-
that'd be
humongous.
that'd be a very interesting thing to watch.
But so, all right, so I say we end this now because
Okay.
it's not going any further. I'm taking, honestly, I actually think that after comparing it to a grizzly bear, that Steve Irwin has a better chance against the werewolf than I initially thought. But I think I'm going to stick with my guns here and go with the werewolf over Steve Irwin.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. The silver argument did get me closer, though, once we
Yeah.
started talking about that, like, and the whole bear thing, but I'm still going werewolf.
Yeah,
I just think that Steve Irwin is so in tune with all creatures,
but
big and small, real or fake, that he is just so, he's so. Think about dogs and wolves in
Can
general,
I say
right?
one thing before you finish this point, though?
Okay.
I think that the argument that you're getting at comes into play in a lot of situations, but not when, like, this werewolf. There's no option other than this werewolf either kills you or you kill this werewolf. Like, I think if he has a run-in with a wild animal that maybe, like, wants to kill him and he doesn't necessarily want to kill it, he can kind of, like, use his own kind of, like, energy to relax that animal and say, like, hey, I'm not a threat. I'm going to get the fuck out of here. You do your thing. But that werewolf is already set on killing him, and he's already set on killing the werewolf. So there's no way that he can kind of get in touch with that animal to talk it down as kind of how you're like,
Right,
explaining it.
yes, is exactly what I was going to get into, and I guess that's where we just disagree. I think that he would. He's done it a million times before.
He's never
and I
fought a
think-
werewolf. That's just not true. I have to.
Has he? He's never fought. We've never even seen him fight. Like, sure, he's struggled with something.
Yeah,
to
like
get it
he's
to calm
wrestled
down.
some alligators. Like, he's definitely, of all the people, definitely a better fight than Teddy Roosevelt would have been against a werewolf.
Yeah.
Yes,
Could-
that's true.
Steve Irwin talk down a werewolf.
Yes, that's what
I think
yes,
in the
I think.
situation,
that
I
I
think
think
in the
he-
situation where it wasn't like
Life or death.
confirmed
Yeah.
going to be a fight to the death, that he could make his way out of like a werewolf's sight line without being attacked.
Yeah.
Like, he could get himself out of that situation.
Here's what I will say. I don't think that Steve Irwin could beat a werewolf without becoming a werewolf. Like, he would get
Is that a
scratched or
thing?
bitten a little
Is that how
bit.
you become a werewolf?
Yeah, all you got to do is get scratched.
Wait, really?
Yep.
Oh. See,
You don't
I
have to
didn't
get
know
bit
that.
or something?
No, you can get scratched too. I
So-
mean, that's SWR. That's standard werewolf rules again. But
See, that's interesting. But he wouldn't become it that, like, one scratch in the fight doesn't instantly make it werewolf versus werewolf. Like, that takes some time.
no,
to develop
it
werewolf.
wouldn't become.
Yeah,
I'm just
it
saying.
has
So
to,
I
like,
think that the
marinate
werewolf
a
would. I
little
think
bit.
that the
Oh,
werewolf
yeah.
would kill him. Still,
Steve Irwin as a werewolf would be pretty nuts. though.
yeah.
That would
Not very
be-
many things could fight Steve Irwin as werewolf. The other thing I was thinking was, I don't even remember.
Steve Irwin as a werewolf could take a grizzly bear.
I think that. I mean, definitely.
He would have a better
closer
shot than a regular
werewolf.
Oh,
yeah.
this is what I was going to say. The other thing, the problem with werewolves is, as we know, like you said, they don't think with reason, right? Like, these people that are werewolves wake up as humans
But
again,
no,
and they don't
no
know.
animal does.
I
no animal.
disagree with that.
Not really. It's all instinct. I mean, what?
Yeah,
what
but
is
I
that?
don't
But
even
it's
think
instinct.
I don't even think werewolves act on instinct. I think they act on
They
like
definitely do.
I think they're no, I think they're like a crazed animal.
It's just like mass hysteria.
Yeah, like they
I
will
think.
just
Like they're rabid.
yeah, yes.
Yeah, that's
werewolves
a
are
That's,
rabid.
that's a different story. I
Were-
don't think so.
Yes. I don't think that
They're
werewolves are
fired up. They're
I don't
fired
think
up.
that
They're in a
strat-
frenzy.
I don't think that they're
But that's
strategic.
different.
I guess no. I guess they maybe have a little, but frenzy is a good word.
Yeah.
All right. Regardless, 2-1, you lose.
No,
again.
not true. Matthew,
Yes.
you are going to be so surprised at the Instagram poll on this. Steve, I guarantee you, Steve Irwin on Instagram.
Yeah, but
is
that's
gonna
just
take him
due
out.
to
But that's
loyalty.
because yes,
That's a
so this
loyalty
is what I
poll.
say all the time. When you vote on the Instagram post, imagine that somebody has a gun to your head. If you pick the loser, you die. Because so many people vote based off like, merit or like their self, like, the self opinion. You have to vote. Who the fuck do you think is going to win this fight?
And it's Steve Irwin.
It's not Steve Irwin.
It is Steve Irwin.
Vote on that on Instagram, though. I am curious now. I do think I agree with you. A lot of people will vote Steve Irwin because.
Just because.
Because
like,
yeah, it's fair.
If it wasn't my job to make sure that, like, the game of who would win of the week stayed true to its form and was played in the purest state, I probably would have picked Steve Irwin because I like Steve Irwin.
Right.
But
that's if you put up a poll like who wins in a fight, Kobe Bryant or like a rhino, like I guarantee Kobe wins that poll.
That's crazy. Though.
He would. Well, no.
Mamba? I might take him
Stop it.
Over Rhino. Over Rhino.
But you see what I mean? There's people out there that would make that argument.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I understand.
A rhino is actually, I don't know how that didn't come up before hippo. Like,
yeah.
What's fucking up a rhino?
I thought then hippo versus rhino would also be an interesting fight.
I'm taking hippo just because of the water aspect.
Have you ever seen
a rhino is just gonna sink? Like,
yeah.
I don't. You can fact check that. Maybe they can swim.
But
doubt
I do.
it.
Do rhinos float?
I think they do play. From what I understand, like do a lot of like rolling in mud. So if you gave them maybe like a swampy environment where they can both kind of hold their own,
kind of an even playing field.
Yeah.
Have you seen that video? It's like all over Twitter and TikTok, and it's like a husband and wife in a car, and there's just a rhino full charge at them, and the wife's like yelling at the husband, and people are like editing it and saying like, what the fuck is the husband gonna do? Like there's a full grown rhino charging 60 miles an hour at your car, dead at you. Like, what is the husband supposed to do? Thankfully the rhino peels off.
Oh, okay.
Doesn't want the car. But I mean, we've been going for just over an hour here, Andy.
Yeah.
There's one thing that I was excited when I found out about it because it's something that we've never done, and now we're gonna get the opportunity to do. Do you want to tee it up?
Sure, we're doing another special treatment for Donny. Nobody
I feel like
else
royalty
should,
here.
and you know what? You should. You might as well be. You know, nobody else should expect this treatment when they come in. I mean, unless they want to, unless they ask.
This is the thing. Yeah, it's funny that this comes up because it's been something that I've always thought about. You know, we've had other guests on that do rap or in the music industry, stuff like that, and I've always thought that it would be a cool thing to do, but I would never want to put somebody on the spot, even before the show.
Yeah, because the thing is,
but I really want it to happen at the same time.
It's Sway in the morning.
Yeah,
that they do it. That's their thing, and I don't want someone to have to sit across this table and be worried about that in the slightest or feel any obligation to do it.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is a different situation.
And I'm excited for it.
As am I. This is going to close out the episode. Let's do one last plug then, Donnie. Yoked is out right now.
Yes.
It's on. You can stream it.
Yeah.
Can you buy it? Can you buy it like on iTunes?
Probably.
Okay, buy it on iTunes. You can afford it. Just pay for it.
If it's on there, it's like 99 cents.
Yeah.
It's like as low as it lets you go. I think.
Got that fucking stimulus check. You can afford it. All right, Donnie.
But yeah, buy 1,400 of them.
But
spend the whole thing.
Yeah.
I spent it all on
Yoked.
Yeah. That's worth it. That's worth it.
#, I spent it all on Yoked. If you ever were going to come out with merchandise,
it's already trending.
It's already trending.
Yeah. You don't even have to file that either. It doesn't go on your taxes.
Nope.
All right, Donnie, thank you for coming on. Here we go. Close it out. You ready to go? I'll start this thing up.
Sure.
All right. Here we go.
I like this beat. You turn it up a little bit?
Yeah.
I'm not a diva, but
No, I'll just turn it up on here.
Yeah, it's about right. Okay. Ha. Y'all need to know my verses, I know that shit's hard to say. Y'all mumble like Shaq, I do it the harder way. Now I'm blasting off to outer space, I come back with some stars to gaze. Sit back and relax, cause we know that I got some bars for days. Brain is in a darker place, mind is like a dry erase. Punchline after punchline, boy I recommend you guard your face. Flow is hotter than a demon sitting by the fireplace. If you peep my last album, better know I'm wide awake. Yeah, that was the anthem, told the truth on medulla. I'm just trying to catch a buzz, so I threw 2 in the cooler. Going back and forth between being zooted or Buddha. Now I'm kinda wanna Nah, you better get better if you wanna get it. I get it, I live it. Now I'm about to pivot. I travel around like I lifted my foot. 2020 like I'm sick with the vision. You missing your shot like you piss in the kitchen. A bad boy crew like we sit with the Pistons. Bad boy crew, sit with the Pistons. You get it.
Oh, yes!
Thought it was strange when we under attack. Acting no fool, we don't know how to act. We don't need to go talk about that. I go and act bizarre and I might go and crash the car. Now we just living in this universe, so we just living large. You don't know that, this a throwback. I'm like Kodak, where that boat at? I might show up in a ski mask, peep my face, I don't show that. I could go, then I could stay, then I could roll, then I could play, then I could represent my district. Hit you with that Mockingjay. I'm not Katniss, I'm not Badfish, I'm not madness. I just practice in the attic, peep the status, we the raddest. I am not telling a lie. I got a veteran mind. Might as well not even try. Hop in your bed and you die over the bump in the road. I just got a bucket of gold. I just got a bump of the soda. Rappers are faker than Botox. Still in a whip and I crash a Mercedes. There's no one in sight, but I'm acting so wavy. I'm dealing with yeses, you're dealing with maybes. These rappers today just be rapping like babies. These rappers today just be rapping like babies. Hold on. Yo, higher than ever on top of a tower. Rapping so sweet and you rapping so sour. Go and decipher this moment of power. I hop in a cipher and go for an hour like whoo. What the fuck we talking about? You don't know what you're doing like you stopping at the roundabout. We kinda got some bars that we just kinda wanna show to y'all. See me with my crew, we just be pulling up like overalls or Pampers or zippers. I got a handful of swishers, I got flashes of wisdom when I'm just clashing my syndromes and I can't believe my brain isn't vacant because it's vandalized. Graffiti hides the answers on the walls while I just analyze. Figure out why every other day I'm feeling half alive. Then the other half I just be living how I fantasize. I'm done.
Holy shit.
Folks, that's it. That's a show. That's how you do it. Donny Alberts, everybody.
Yeah, if you're messaging them on Instagram, you got to be able to do that.
Oh,
that's the new bar.
People fucking can. Wow.
You better bring that heat. Let's get the fuck out of here. Woo.
Andy, see ya. Donnie, thank you so
Awesome.
much.
Of course.
Thank you.
Holy shit.
Fade
I
out
wasn't
on
ready
that.
for that.